What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I think you guys know me by now. My name is Jeremy. We got the tiny ninja right behind the camera. And look who we got here today, Kai from Heilung. Oh my God, thank you so much, my brother, for being here after the show too. You know, like he went and got cleaned up and then came straight to us. Actually, did you get cleaned up?
Yes, I am coming fresh from the shower, otherwise you wouldn't sit that close to me.
Hell yeah, man. You guys have been here in the States now a couple times. This is your third time? On tour?
Yes, it's the third tour plus the Red Rocks performance.
The Red Rocks. How has the tour been going for you, or just in general, how's it been going for you in the States as compared to your home countries, basically? Like, is the American crowd receiving you well?
Yes.
Yeah?
They do. And we knew that in forehand because, of course, we're observing where our merch goes when people buy that, where our records go when people buy that. And we realized pretty early, okay, the Americans, they like us. They order a lot of stuff, you know, and of course, like YouTube as well. You see the comments and come to Maryland, come to Chicago, come to Florida, come to, you know, like all this. And then at some point we went through the process to get a work visa for the US. That is not the easiest process, as you probably know.
Yep, I know how that goes. It's always red tape.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a bit challenging, and then we came here and we see a lot of gratefulness, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of love, like literally. And we're very happy. I mean, like,
that's amazing. I love to hear that, because seeing your ritual, which is so very different from anything I've ever seen and probably what most Americans would see, I was wondering how it would go. You know, there's going to be a subset of people that are absolutely loving it, but I had no idea that you would sell out such a big venue, and like the crowd was so loud. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys feel that. And is it a lot different from, say, Europe or in Denmark or Sweden, Germany, the crowds?
Well, it's like Europe is different countries that have, like, you know, people usually live up to their expectations. So you come to a seated venue in Germany and they will be all like nicely sitting and being very quiet, you know, and waiting.
Right.
And then you come to, when it was still possible to play in Ukraine, they are much more enthusiastic, much more outgoing and everything. Right. And it's a little bit like that also in the US. Of course, it's a bit more homogeneous because it's like one state with a lot of states in between. But it's amazing. Like I remember Red Rocks. That was, of course, a lot of people. It was like nearly 10,000 people, right? So that was, you know, you could feel them in the ground when they went wild and everything, you know. And like, also, there's always a little difference if it's a fully seated venue or a fully standing venue or mixed. That is has always influence on how people behave. Of course, then there's also a factor of the security service in the house, how they behave, if they allow people to stand up, to walk around or not, you know, like all that kind of stuff has a lot of influence. But today I had the feeling as if people were very, very hungry, and I heard several times a very, very loud thank you, like really this like, oh yeah, kind of thing, right? So
that's awesome.
That was the feeling of today. I got when from the stage.
Oh yeah, I loved it. How long did it take you to become comfortable enough to where you felt good enough to perform it? Because I'm sure you had to research all the languages and what everything meant, and I can't imagine that you just read a couple sentences and started. So about how long do you think it took you to get comfortable enough to where you're like, let's take this out, let's make this something?
I have to be honest, when I went for the first time on stage, I wasn't comfortable at all. Because I'm not a musician by trade, I say that without shame. But the two others that are with me in the core of the band, Christopher and Maria, they are very seasoned musicians. They make music for a long time. I used to be a tattoo artist and working with shamanism, you know, doing all this healing stuff. And like I still have a completely different approach to sound. So like in shamanism, there's you don't talk about shamanic music, you talk more about sonic driving, because like it's not there to satisfy the aesthetic senses. It's there to do something in your brain to bring you to a certain state of mind, right? So, and I always did the shamanic sound work in a very small circle, you know, either in one-to-one sessions or in like, you know, maximum 15 people somewhere in the forest and something like that. We pressed the recording button for the first time in 2014. In 2017, the album was out, and the album came out in 2016, Ofnir, the first one. By 2017, we knew we will have to perform this because people are crazy, you know, like everything that we laid out in the internet, people said, yeah, play live, we want to see you live, right? But I had never been really on stage, right? You know, like I was a tattoo artist, you know, like being more on the introvert side of life. Then we took nearly a year to prepare everything, you know, like, and I just put on my costume or like my regalia that I usually was wearing for ceremonies, and then there was that moment where I was thinking, okay, I'm kind of dreaming here, and someone pushed me out on the stage, and there was like 5,000 people on that festival in Holland, and then I just did it.
And it just came out, and you just been going ever since?
It was always there, because for example, the first song or the first piece we performed, I was the runes I am reciting them already since more than 20 years. Like that song came to me in a very, very raw version when I was out for 9 days without food by myself in the forest, and that is how I picked it up, and I was using it ever since, right? So, and then of course when I started fusing with Chris and Maria, it got into like tight rhythm, it got melody pieces with it, and it became an actual song, right? But this it was always there. It was always with me, and like it's also when I'm on stage, I slip very, very fast in a trance-like state, like a half trance, so that I don't end up twitching on the ground and fall over cables, but I'm kind of gone in a way, right? And yeah.
You know, I heard in one of your other previous interviews about going into that trance-like state, and sometimes there's like gaps and you don't really remember whole things. And I was curious, out of the things that you do remember, is there any like really memorable moment or place where you were performing and just everything felt at a higher level? Like, do you have a most memorable moment from performing?
That was, it's of course, because we do so many performances, that moment is updating itself permanently. But I'll be straight honest with you. We had like 2 days ago, we were performing in Greensboro, and we were really blessed with the presence of some dancers from the First Nations, and
cool.
They were, because we always invite them to open up for us, to be the first people on stage, especially here in America, and I mean, like they came with these beautiful costumes, and they took hours to get in there with the feathers and and the paintings, and like they brought one of their elders, which is a huge thing, because they don't just come when you say just, you know. And the moment they started drumming and dancing, I just bursted in tears. That was so it was so strong, and that they did that for us, you know, like coming to our carpet, you know, to our sacred carpet, and like telling their spirits, telling their ancestors, hey, these guys are here, and like say hello to them, and they come with a good intention and everything. That was just, and I was not the only one. Like I could see, like, to the left and to the right of me before our performance, that like some of my colleagues were also like just sobbing, right? And it was that was a very, very intense moment, you know. And like every time that happens, every time we have like we invite First Nations from wherever we go. We had people, Aborigines in Australia on stage, and we had on Thailand in Thailand as well, Siberia back then when it was still possible to play there and everything. That is always a very, very strong moment because like they come from ancient unbroken tradition. You know, of course they got a good hit at some point, especially like Australia is quite rough to be Aborigine over there.
Yeah,
but they still remember a lot of things, and like we in Europe, it happened to us as well. But like for people, not what is nowadays German ground, we got our nature religion taken away already 1,500 years ago. You know, there was Christianity coming in. End of the story. So
the Romans came through, and
the Romans brought the Christianity in the end a little bit. But all our sacred songs, our medicine people and everything that got taken away from us, and we're out there for all this time without connection, basically, right? And then when we are guests and they make this connection for us, that is just very, very beautiful to see and to perceive. It's a big gift.
I love that. And speaking of the native tribes, you just made me think, would there ever be a Heilung and native tribes from America and Canada or Australia, like a collaboration, like in doing some kind of music together?
To make a piece together?
Yeah.
Oh, we're always open.
Yeah?
We're always open for everything. I mean, like on a lot of our albums there, on our albums, there's always guest musicians. And there's always an invitation.
That's
so
awesome.
like it's just a matter of communication and finding
the right ones.
Finding the right ones, finding the right moment in space and time.
Absolutely.
We're open for everything. And
Hell
we're very,
yeah.
very grateful for new influences.
Have you ever done a sweat lodge with the natives here in the States?
We will. When the tour is over, we have an invitation to do a traditional sweat lodge, and I did several times.
Okay, great.
But not with the whole groups. Just.
I love that. I saw your I think your last show is going to be in LA or something. I think, or out west, Denver.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends in the native community that do that kind of stuff. And I was like, should I try and put you in touch with them? Because you've got to do it here with the people that do it. So you've already got that going on. Early on, when we were doing the reaction videos, I made the mistake of saying, oh, this is an amazing show, you know, calling it a show. And the comments lit up from everybody. It's not a show, it's a ritual. I understand. So what is your take on that? Do you aim to have the audience have a spiritual experience or like a primal human experience? Is that what you're hoping for with these rituals?
That is the clear aim, yeah. No matter how you call it, if you call it a religious experience, a spiritual experience, an epiphanic moment, like getting in contact with the collective subconscious, you know, there's a lot of words for that, you know.
Right.
But to bring people to that moment, you know, when they have that feeling of that something really, really great is happening, that there is some kind of weirdness going on, that the colors are getting a bit brighter, and that everything, like, that there's this euphoria, something in that direction, you know, that of course there's people who work with that kind of stuff, they can put names on it and like name spirits that are coming and all that kind of stuff, you know. And for me, it's not even a question of believing, you know, like a lot of people say, do you really believe in the old gods like Odin and all of that kind of stuff and shamanism? Do you really believe in that? And
do you guys believe?
I always say no. I plainly say no. No, I don't believe in that. I either experience it or it is not there that day.
It's more like an energy type of thing, correct? Is that like we give and take energies basically, and that's what the universe, at least that's kind of how I feel. I don't know if you feel something similar like that, if you're not believing in the old Nordic gods and stuff like that, but you believe in stuff like that. You love nature, right?
yeah, well, nature is just there. There's nothing to dispute. It is there, right?
Right, and it's wonderful.
And it's beautiful, and it's necessary for us. We need nature to exist. Nature does not need us to exist. Right.
That is true.
And that is also why we do this collective circle and like have that short speech together to like really remind ourselves. Like we're all one. Like we're just like a bunch of molecules.
Yeah.
Right now we're human, but we will fall apart again, and then we'll become earth again. We will become trees again. We will become grass again, and that is also what is happening before. Like I really call out to the four winds, and I call out to our mother and all our father. And I also invite them from the invisible world or the metaphysic world, or however you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, right? But
right. It just is what it is. The words don't matter.
Exactly.
It exists.
Exactly. Like I call it ancestors. I call it spirits. I call it gods. And
energy.
Whatever
you want to call it. Don't hate. You can call it what we want to call it.
It really doesn't matter, but like it's really about expanding conscious, because like when we just think that we end where our skin touches the earth and we only think about ourselves, then we do what Buddhism calls the only two things that bring the trouble in the world. We are ignorant and we become greedy because we believe in that it's not enough for everyone, And that is a profound, no matter where you go on the planet, when you go to the ancient cultures, when you go to the old cultures, they all lived in paradise. And with paradise, I mean they had a conscious of abundance. They had a conscious of like, I can afford to give you my love. I can afford to give you my bracelet, my shoes, whatever, because I know at some point I will receive it back. Not from you necessarily, but from someone else, because we all have enough.
Right.
But if someone starts at some point, it's all mine.
Yeah.
Then
we got some problems.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you have a favorite place to be in nature? I know you like to be in nature, but in all of the world, if there is one favorite place that you've been where you were like, this is just amazing, what place would that be?
That is also something that is updating constantly.
Right. True.
Because
true.
I'm also blessed due to my line of work that I see a lot of places. And before I came here, I was at Vancouver Island in Canada, and the rainforest over there, the untouched patches of it, and I was at the place where the Nemgis First Nation is located, and it's just beautiful. There's ancient trees, the sea, and they have a lot of whales there. I saw humpback whales, the eagles. I was blessed to see the traditional dances of the Nemgis with their giant masks and everything, and that is right now
the most recent.
Yeah, the most recent, but I was also there last year already. Like Vancouver Island is something that is really absolutely beautiful, and I always say it's like Norway on speed. It's very much alike.
Norway on speed.
But it's just a bit bigger and a bit richer.
Right.
And, like not that much exploited on bits. Of course, there's of course places where they do a lot of forest cutting down work and all of that, but that's happening everywhere.
Have any of the Heilung songs been fully written in one of these places?
Yeah, some of the Heilung songs, they're very old. Like I have them already in my diary for 10, 15, 20 years, and there's one place that I regularly visit at least once a year in France, where I get mostly inspired. That's my...
In France?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
wow.
At the sea as well. Atlantic oceans have a very profound effect on me. And I would say that is where the majority of the newer stuff is brought to paper, and then of course to the studio. And then the studio itself is also a place where a lot of stuff comes to me. Like because over there I work with the books. So when I'm out in nature, of course, I don't carry like 50 ancient books with me that are printed in the 1800s and only 10 pieces exist on the planet. All that kind of stuff, that is at home. Where that kind of stuff.
That makes sense, man. That's cool. I heard you mention about the Tibetan monks in another video and how that's one of your big influences in the throat singing and stuff like that. Have you been able to really tap into that? I hear you doing it, but how long did it take you to learn that? Because that's not just a technique where you just go, there's a lot that goes into that. And when you get into that, does your mind go into the same kind of trance that the Tibetan monks do? Something similar?
I wouldn't know, to be honest.
Or you reach for that kind of state of mind?
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's like that when you do the throat singing in that style. First of all, I always wanted to do it. Already as a child, I had the feeling that something was waiting there that I always tried to get out, but I had to become 30-something. Until I met someone who really took me more or less literally by the hand, and we took long walks in the forest, and he taught me how to do it, how to really access that piece of or that area of my throat. And what it does on the base of your skull, it gives a certain vibration, right? And when you open yourself up to that, you close your eyes or you release yourself, go into a meditative state, it does something to you.
Yeah.
It clearly does something to you. And of course, I know by theory that the Tibetan monks, they also work with a lot of visualization, and they put a lot of work in there where I don't even have the time. You have to be a monk to do all this kind
of
years
studying how to do it.
Yeah. So I have not been to Tibet myself, but I've been to Nepal, and I have seen little monks in their training a little bit, and that was also the point where I realized, okay, they're light years ahead of, because I didn't have that teaching,
but it's fascinating to experience.
It's amazing, especially when you see a couple of 8 to 12-year-olds and hear how they are reciting and how good they are, because that was in a very, very big temple. It could even be that it is Nepal's biggest, because that was in Kathmandu.
Oh man!
And it has I don't remember the name now, but there is a giant stupa where they say that Buddha always has this lump on his head, and in there was a jewel, they say, and that jewel is in that stupa. So there's people from all over coming, pilgrimage to that place, and the monastery right next to it. That is where we were. And we had a very, very, very beautiful and friendly host that got us in there, because that is usually nothing where you just walk in and
hey, we're gonna be
we're gonna record you and can you sing a little bit, right? Of course, we were very, very respectful and very, very quiet, but just to be there and see, I don't have a clue that was maybe 70, 90 little monks that did that, and
8-year-olds.
Wow. Yeah, in between 8 and 12, I would guess, right? Of course, there's the huge language barrier, and they were just perfect, spot on, having this books and go through it, all move at the same time, have the same pitch, and
that's gotta be crazy.
Yeah,
most of our 8-year-olds here are like this.
Yeah, on the phone.
Yes.
Sad.
24/7. Yeah. So I can't even imagine that. This one comes from our YouTube supporters. Thank you guys very much for posting your questions. And this was about the Hellblade 2 video game, and you guys did a collaboration. And they wanted to know, is there any kind of follow-up to that? Are you guys going to work with anybody else on the next Viking games or anything like that? Is there anything in the future coming along with more video games?
If I would tell you, I would have to kill you.
Well, you see this, see these runes here? I'm protected by this band called Heilung. Band. I can't even call it a band. Anyways, so you guys will have to stay tuned for that one, but thank you for your question. Old Norse clothing line. Can you tell me a little bit about Old Norse? Is this available to everybody at the moment already?
Yes.
Do you have your own website, or is this via Heilung?
No, Old Norse doesn't have anything to do with Heilung apart from that it's me making it, and it has a website. It's of course like old-norse.com, and it's available for everyone. So like as European people, we don't have that concept of cultural ownership. So no matter where you originate from, you're welcome to wear it. You're welcome to order it, and it contains traditional European designs originating from Germany, from Sweden, but also from Italy, also from France. There's Roman designs in there, early medieval designs, antique designs, medieval designs.
Did you design all of it yourself, or
all of it?
Oh wow!
All of it. Like, of course, when it comes to the cuts of the shirts or the hoodies or whatever, that I don't really do.
Right.
Of course, like I work together with people. But when it comes to embroidery or printing, all the designs, that's my work.
And you did this too as well.
I of course do that for Heilung as well.
It's amazing.
But in Heilung, it's always like that. I work very closely together, of course, with Christopher and Maria, and I pre-draw everything, and I give it to Christopher, who very often does the coloration and vectorizes it, and like also does the composition for the templates, for like the record templates and everything. While Old Norse, there's other people doing the work, and I basically put the stuff myself on.
Right.
Like, okay, this is where
what I want it to look like. Do it
exactly.
All right, so you guys, if you guys want to help support Kai, which you should, make sure you go to old-norse.com and buy everything. Because I said so, and Ninja back there said so. Support him, because dude is awesome. And lastly, I just wanted to ask, where do you see yourself in the next 15, 20 years? Do you see yourself still doing Heilung, tattooing?
No, I stopped tattooing last year.
Okay, not enough time.
After the America tour, I stopped, because I realized it's too much, because like I was pretty busy as a tattoo artist in forehand, and then Heilung came, and it took away a lot of my time, and at the same time it made me even more well known or more known, so even more people wanted to have tattoos, and it ended up with an unrealistic waiting list, and then even more time went into Heilung, and I also got the message from the spirits already a while ago. Kai, it is time. There is a life after the needle, as they say.
Yeah, there's life after the needle. That's going to be the next shirt. Life after the needle.
And then I put the needle down, and now I dedicate my life to Heilung, of course, and to Old Norse, and that is basically flowing in the same line of work, because like I always see myself as the carrier of ancient art, of ancient tradition, and a servant of my surroundings, servant and really good friend of my ancestors that went a long way ago, but also of the people that are coming after me, like our children, that they really have a chance to understand, okay, this is where we come from, this is how ancient cultures look, and that is how they thought, and also that we're all the same. Like that is it's also really important, like especially again when we worked with the First Nation people here, there's so much symbolism that we share, like the ancient pre-Christian symbolism of Europe and the First Nation symbolism here, but also in Australia and in Thailand. There's so many moments when we look at our old stuff where we say, wow, but we have that symbol as well, it's right there, and I think that is really, really important to understand.
It's connected.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
We all bleed red. We all don't want to suffer, and we all need love. That's just what it is.
Love it.
I mean, that's a great way to end it, you guys. I mean, Kai, Heilung, make sure you guys go check out Heilung. Thank you so much for your time. It's really been a pleasure. I'm telling you guys, y'all know I've seen a lot of stuff. I've never seen a ritual, a performance like this. It is mind-blowing, and go buy tickets before, this one was sold out. So get your ass there, buy some tickets, go see these guys, because you will your mind will be blown. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful time. And until next time, my friends, peace.
See you.